Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here with the new game, Dungeonmans. This is a turn-based roguelike RPG with base building. I discovered it on a channel on YouTube that I found recently called Splattercat Gaming. I don't know the person who runs that channel. It was just a cool channel I found. They play this game, and I haven't beaten it. I'm not an expert at it. However, I looked at pretty much all the Dungeonmans videos that appear when you do a YouTube search, and I feel like I'm good enough at the game that I can add something beyond what is currently being shown in the Let's Plays and the guides for this game. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk more then. The first thing you gotta do is found a new academy. Now, I'm not going to read all this text because that's boring, but when you're doing it in a video, but I will say all the writing in this game is fantastic, and when you play it, I highly recommend that you read it all. So we gotta make a new continent here. Let's call this Moldavtonia. And they read some stuff. It's really hilarious. Read it, okay? And then you bring in a candidate into your academy. So let's go ahead and call him Thog. Well, after you give your candidate a name, you get to pick a stats list from 5 randomly generated predetermined stats sheets. Now, these stats sheets, you can get rid of them. You can say these are all terrible, Thog is no Dungeonmans, and you can get rid of them. Now, what happens if you do that is you cannot ever reuse that name. Like, I guess the game remembers all the names that you've tried and used, and it does not allow you to ever do a name from someone that you kicked out. So it's a small price to pay for, getting a good stats sheet. With that said, once you get into the game a little ways, I'll show you in a later video, it basically doesn't really matter what your stats sheet is. So we're going to go ahead and grab this one that has the high strength. Now, let me go over what all the stats do. Strength, or strength as I'm probably going to call it, affects your hit points and your damage. Your second stat, skills, represents your accuracy, how much damage you do at range. It also helps you blocking when parrying, sort of like your defensive stat. So Thog kind of sucks at it to start with. We'll have to get that up there. Science is kind of the elusive stat. It sort of affects how well potions work and some other miscellaneous things. And then Foom is the magic stat. This affects how much mana you have and how much damage you do with your spells. So let's go ahead and pick this for Thog. And I'm going to go ahead and now pick a class. So there's 4 tiers of class that they suggest here. There's the Rookie, Standard, Advanced, and Professionals only. Now, I don't entirely agree with all of the, the naming here, or sorry, the categories that they assign. So, for example, I feel like Wizardmans is a little bit closer to Advanced, and Bannermans is a little bit closer to Standard as far as difficulty goes. But we're going to go ahead and start with the FIGHTERMANs. Personally, the way that this works, I kind of like it. You can either go for a Dungeonmans, which basically lets you allocate all of your starting skills by yourself, or you can pick a pre-made class. And all of these pre-made classes are nothing like unique. Every single one of them you can make if you just pick the Dungeonmans class. And any starting class that you pick, you can add components of the other classes later. So for example, if there's Psychomancer powers that you really like, you can go ahead and add them to your FIGHTERMANs. Let's go ahead and pick them. After you pick your class, you get to pick 2 perks, and most of them are just pretty solid. There's this very weird one, Mono Perk Disorder, which is basically not a perk, it's just nothing. But I don't know why you wouldn't pick 2. There's some really good ones here. I'm going to go ahead and grab Southernborn, which gives bonus health. I'm going to need that because his skill is low, so he's going to be getting hit a lot. And I'm also going to grab... where is it? Wait, what am I... Hang on a second. There it is. I don't know why I couldn't find that. Tireless. So what this does, I'll explain a little bit of the mechanics now. So there's 2 resource bars in the game for your hero. There's stamina, which is used to power physical attacks, and there's mana, which is used for magic attacks. You can use mana attacks, as much as you want, as long as you have mana, but the stamina attacks cause strain, meaning that for 5 rounds after you use a particular stamina attack, you have to pay a greatly increased cost if you want to use it again. This reduces that cost to 2 rounds, so it makes it a little bit easier to use the same ability more than once. In this game, it's kind of interesting. You don't get a rag doll that, adds your equipment to it as you go. You just get this sort of stock photo that stays there no matter what equipment you're wearing. Let's go ahead and for theme, let's grab a nice fitting picture for Thog. We're going to play as a two-handed weapon warrior. So, your first time in, you're going to get a big old speech from the headmaster at your academy. And we're going to go ahead and skip all that. So there's a couple of things around here. You got your library over here, which will be useful later. We'll see that. There's an alchemy lab over here, which will also be useful later, but we're going to see that as well. And then there's a blacksmith guy, which we're actually going to use probably at some point in this video. Out here, there's the graveyard. Now, this game is kind of similar to Rogue Legacy and Guild of Engineering in that you got this base, and it builds up over time. So that, you know, with each hero that you play, well, this is not true for Guild of Engineering, but it kind of is, I guess, with the talismans and the loot. So, yeah, so just like in those games, things get a little bit easier with every subsequent hero that you play. After your hero dies, you make a new one, and things get a little bit simpler because you've built things up. But unlike Rogue Legacy and Guild of Engineering, you know, this game is a lot more involved on each individual hero playthrough. Like, you have, you know, this entire skill system over here with bajillions of skill trees, and you get, like, an inventory filled with loot, and you go around, there's a whole map and lots of cities. I mean, there's, like, a whole lot of stuff to do. So you spend a lot more time with heroes in this game than you do in the others, which I think adds a nice element to it. This guy over here is your skills trainer. So as we find some proofs of strength, we're going to be able to level up our skills, and not our skills, our stats. So my first priority is going to be to get the skills up as much as humanly possible. Okay, let's go to the Overworld next. So you can wander around here, and basically the way this works is the farther you go from your academy to the east and to the south, the harder things get. At the top, you're actually told in a very helpful and convenient fashion how difficult the area is for you. So we're level 1 right now, so we're at the level of Adventurous. Lower than that is Mundane, and below that is Trivial. Above this, it gets, I think, Dangerous, and then maybe something else after that. So you can always tell roughly how difficult of a challenge you should expect. Here's the inventory. So we don't start off with anything super great. We got a thick plank with a bent nail, which I can use in place of yesterday's knife, and half a shield. In fact, I am going to do this. I'm going to go for the two-handed weapon approach. Now, one thing I don't like about this game is while a lot of the pre-made classes are pretty logical, some are not. So the FIGHTERMANS actually is not very logical. In fact, in future playthroughs of the game, I'm not going to pick FIGHTERMANS. If I want to make a fighter, I'm going to grab the Dungeonmans class and just make a fighter that way. What we have here is we have the Shieldcraft skill, which is great if you're going to play with shields, but it's useless if you're not. And then we have the Martial Exchanges skills. So it gives this one gives the ability to use two-handed weapons. In this game, you can't use anything unless you have a skill for it. So this is great. It gives you an ability, press the attack. That's awesome if you're using a two-handed weapon, but useless otherwise. So you're guaranteed that one of these skill points is wasted unless you, for some reason, switch it up and sometimes use sword and board and sometimes use two-handed weapon, but I don't see why I'd ever want to do that. There's also the fighter tree. Let's take a look. So we start off with sword and board. This is a power I'm never going to use because I'm fighting as a two-handed weapon fighter. So some wasted skills, but it doesn't matter. This character was going to die anyway. It's only a matter of time. In fact, if I did too well with my first character, that'd be mega awkward because you kind of need your characters to die to really like see a lot of the cool stuff that happens in the game. So here we are in our level. In fact, let me get rid of the skills I'm never going to use. So there's press the attack and battle fervor. Oh yes, I have that by virtue of having real armor. So you can't, it's kind of weird in this game, like, I cannot wear light armor or medium armor. I can only wear real armor. You can't wear anything unless you get a skill that permits you to wear it. Kind of weird. But anyway, we're in this convenient Skorobold Warren, conveniently placed. We're right outside the academy. If you haven't noticed, this game has a great sense of humor. So enemies come at you, but this is a turn-based game. So right now, if I sit here, nothing is going to happen. If I move, they move. Moving into an enemy or clicking on it causes you to attack it. So I'm going to trade blows with that Skorobold. And when enemies drop things, it pops out delightfully, and you can pick it up. Now, we're going to see here, I got some flippy floppies, but they are light armor, so I can't use them. We got a shield there, so I can't use that either. Let's go ahead and fight this slime. My main hope here is to find a better two-handed weapon. And hopefully some armor as well. I Actually, I'm wearing decent armor, but, you know, some feet, head, legs, maybe, would be nice to find. Gladiator skirt is medium armor, so I tragically... Where'd it go? What the... You don't know how to use the gladiator skirt. Oh, it went over here. It got grayed out. Yes, it's medium armor, so I can't wear it. Here are the stairs down, but I'm not going to go here yet. One thing that's nice about this game is there's a map, so you can get a rough idea of, well, where you are and like what you have and haven't explored yet. I highly recommend exploring every level fully. This gives you the maximum odds of being able to find stuff to improve your equipment, you know, which makes a really big difference. And I find that I end up dying a lot sooner than I expect if I go like, oh, I'm ready for the next thing, and then I just go down, and then I end up dying more often, even if I can't always pinpoint a concrete reason why. So I found an iron beatstick. This is a really nice magical item. It could be cursed. You don't know until you identify it. I could go back to the academy to identify it, but that would take some time, so I'm just going to equip it. It appears to not be cursed, so now my damage output improves tremendously from 1d8 minus 1 to 2d7 plus 1. That's obviously very nice. What's cool about this game is it auto-compares items for you, so I can see, you know, if you pick up this thick plank and you equip it, your damage is going to decrease by 6. So this game has a lot of quality of life type stuff. Just because it, you know, has these sort of old school graphics does not mean that it is a simple game and that it's inconvenient to play. If you want to just pass, you can click on yourself. So now I passed, I made that slime come at me, and then I killed it. Let's take a quick look at the map. Alright, there's some stuff over here I think I need to explore. To the right. One thing I don't like about this game is that you cannot set key bindings. So I actually have to use my arrow keys to move around. I cannot use WASD. Hopefully that will be introduced into a later patch of the game. The game is being regularly supported. Can't imagine that they wouldn't introduce that at some point. Alright, in case you didn't notice, we just leveled up. So it's time to grab a skill. Very important to use up to get skills when you level up. So in the adventure thing, there's really nothing I want. I'm already at maximum for two-handed weapons. I don't want to use shields, I don't want to use bows, and I don't want to dual wield, which is what Dungeon Dervish is. In armor, I have to be level 3 to get this ability to make my armor better. So I'm going to ignore that, and I'm not going to put these things on. I'm just going to use real armor when I find it. So FIGHTERMANS, what is kind of simple about it is you pretty much can just, you know, go into the FIGHTERMANS tree and just get stuff here. I can also go into the, there's a very nice tree for fighters, the Bannerman's tree, which I will do in a later run because that makes things a little bit more complicated. Here we'll just keep it simple. We'll just, you know, run up to things and we're going to hit them, and that'll be that. So, the first level is always going to be pretty straightforward. Oh, there's an enemy up there. Sure, let's kill that. Monsters do randomly spawn, so you cannot ever... If you're one of those people who, like, absolutely must have the satisfaction of permanently clearing out every floor, this game might drive you a little bit nuts. But I don't think it's a negative about the game. I think that adds to the feeling of danger, which is important to a roguelike. Even if you clear the floor, you're not necessarily safe. Something could spawn and totally whoop your ass. And you do have to play this game very carefully. It's very easy to die, even when you think that you're invincible. Okay, so here, I think we've explored pretty much the whole thing. I believe this is just the edge of what I can see currently. So let's go down to the next level. Every level is pretty well structured. At the bottom floor, you fight a boss, which is a significantly more difficult enemy than the ones that you've been fighting up to that point. If you kill that, you get a nice reward, and then the dungeon is cleared. One thing that's very important in this game is the use of consumable items. You really do need to use consumables to win, otherwise you're going to just die a little more than is comfortable. But I know a lot of people don't like to use consumables. I'm one of them. I can't stand it. I always just like want to save potions forever. But you can kind of treat it as like, you know, I'm just going to use a few potions per level or per dungeon, and then just, you know, buy potions as you need to from towns and kind of ration them out. So that's a way to, you know, get past the psychological distress of using the potions. Alright, these guys shoot ranged bolts at me. So what I'm going to do is, if I go up to it, it's just going to run away, like that. So I'm going to use an ability here, press the attack. It costs 10 stamina, which is kind of a lot, because I only have 36. When you use the skill, this grid appears, and you can pick where you want to go. So press the attack, moves you 1 square forward, and it attacks in the same turn. And it deals a ton of damage, and it inflicts a bleed. So most things now should just die in 1 hit. And then that way I can catch up to these pesky things that run away from me. Why? Why do you run from my sword? It only wants to bring you the sweet, sweet release of death. Okay, so we got some coins there. Always look in those little crannies. There's always useful stuff. Well, not always, but there's frequently useful stuff. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and kill this guy. What the heck? Oh, that's cool. Priceless and rare historical artifacts. So all those types of things you'll take back to your guild. We'll do that after we clear things out here. Okay. So, doing pretty well. Your health, slowly regenerates. You can also rest. Obviously, while you're resting, monsters can come up and stop your rest, but it's really not that big of a deal. There are some games where if you rest and get attacked, it's like a huge pain in the ass. Here, it's just like pretty far on, on the edge of the screen. Some monster will appear, and then you're gonna be fine. All right, so now we can get our skills that require level 3. I can get this one, which gives me storm drivers, which lets you just jump a big distance and deal a ton of damage to everybody in the area. Or you can get this, which makes it so that if you get taken down to below 1/5 of your health, you get a big boost. You get a whole extra action the following turn, which can really save your bacon. It can help you run away from somebody, or it can help you deal enough damage to kill them. Over here, like I said, there's nothing useful. I'll go ahead and grab this. This can be good for chasing enemies around. When you get a new skill, you can just press the button to use the skill and see what the range is. As you can see, this has got a pretty big range, and it also shows you where you're going to deal damage. You can press escape then to cancel and not do the attack after all. Notice these scrolls I'm picking up, I don't know what they do. The first time you play the game, all the scrolls are just sort of mysterious. But you can go to your academy, the headmaster will identify the scrolls for you, and from that point forward, you will know what those scrolls are every time you see them. Eventually, you get to the point where your academy is upgraded enough that all your new characters come basically with all the scrolls and a lot of potions pre-identified. The potions also initially start out unidentified. But that's just like starting out. Eventually, they start out pre-identified, and so you'll know what they do. This is one of the ways that the game becomes easier as you play with more characters. It's that you know what the stuff does. But there are many, of course, more significant ways, which we'll see throughout the course. Is this going to be a full playthrough? I don't know. Let me actually do crowd control here. So this swings in a wide arc, and it pushes enemies back. I don't really care about the pushing them back. I like that this allows you to deal a bunch of damage at once. Wow, that was a pretty big swing there. Am I taking poison damage? I totally am. Love the way that stuff flips out. It just makes it so satisfying to pick up. If you like picking up lots of things, you'll be happy to know there is a Scrounger perk, which makes more random loot appear in breakables. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that perk because I don't think that it's mechanically as strong as a perk that actually helps you survive and fight with monsters. But it's a good perk to have for the collectionist and the completionist out there. Alright, let's check the map. So this is now pretty much all explored. There's a cool feature here. You can go right-click and click on head to downstairs, nearest downstairs, or upstairs, which makes it very easy to find your way out of the dungeon. Now we're on the 3rd floor, and we're going to try our luck against the champion of this level. Though you may crush easily, these chittering weaklings do not underestimate their champions. Yes, they are tough. I could very well die in the battle against the champion of this level. Notice I'm straining here. It's going to cost me 26 stamina to do this. Because of the tireless ability I have, I'm ready to go to press the attack again and hunt that thing down. If I didn't have that perk, it would have taken another 3 rounds before I could use that ability without a penalty. Now that's not something I take for every character. Obviously, if you're going to play like a wizard, or excuse me, a wizardmans, then you're not going to want that because wizards don't use stamina. They use mana. Wow, this is quite a long passage. Okay. So, I'm gonna see. Now, normally, you know, if this were later in the game, I'd know what all these potions and scrolls did. So, I might have, like, a potion of healing, for example. Or a potion of bark skin, which would give me some extra resistance. Which could help me win this fight. If I just go up against this guy, there's a really good chance I'm just gonna die. But, we'll give it our best shot. So, what I'm gonna do is activate Fervor, which causes me to take 30 less physical damage, which is good because that's the damage that this guy deals. Then I'm going to leap in here with Storm Driver and just deal a lot of damage to this guy. Alright, that wasn't as much as I was hoping. Now, we're going to go toe-to-toe. It's going to be close. Alright, luckily this first boss is not too tough, but if it had been any tougher, I would have just died there. I didn't have any potions or anything. So tons of shit spills out of him. We got some pretty good stuff, which we'll use in a moment. Let's first of all kill this thing that appeared out of nowhere. Once you kill the boss, a portal appears back to the overworld. Now, I could continue exploring this level, and in fact, I'm going to. So first I'm going to rest. See, monster came, doesn't matter. I want to get my stamina back. And now I'm going to go head to nearest upstairs. Oh, okay, well, that didn't work as well as it could have because this monster is right here. Running into a monster interrupts the auto-pathing. Checkmate, bitch. Okay. But I'm not actually going up. What I'm doing is I just want to explore the rest of this level. Like I said, I think it's important to explore the whole level. It gives you extra chances to find useful items. Oh, what the hell, this is fun. Although, not that damaging. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not a super big fan of that attack. I don't play too much with FIGHTERMANs. I prefer the wizard. Hang on a minute, there's a lot of shit here. Okay, can I use this to kill a couple of guys? Let's go here. Ah, that was good. Alright, I'll take it. I prefer the wizard, the banner person, basically playing as a kind of hybrid of the FIGHTERMANs and the bannermans. And the Psychomancer is fun. He's sort of like a psychic monk thing who deals crazy damage with his fists. Here, by using press the attack, I'm actually damage both of those things. And I'm going to use it again because I am tireless. Checkmate that guy. Use it. Oh, can't use it anymore. I'm out of stamina. We're going to have to trap this guy against the wall. Oh, man, he's going to... Oh, there we go. Got him. Pro plays all days. Oh, another one? Jesus. Well, at least I got enough stamina back to kill that thing. So one thing that you might not notice at first is that in this game, stamina costs of all your abilities increase as you level up. Which means that as you get more stamina, you do get more attacks, but not quite as much more as you might think, because the cost of your abilities increases also. Now, that is kind of frustrating. You're like, oh yes, this thing only costs 3 stamina. I'm going to get to use it so much when I level up and have a bigger stamina pool. And it's like, not exactly. But I feel like that's fine for balance sake. And there are some classes that, you know, you can play and stamina really isn't an issue. That guy bled to death because this press the attack ability inflicts a significant bleed, which combined with its significant damage is usually enough to finish off a monster in one hit. Let's pick up this tattered skirt. One thing I like about this game is that even though the graphics are obviously very old school, it's a very pretty game, and the graphics are good. I mean, you can tell oftentimes, without having to strain or think very hard, exactly what an item on the ground is, just by looking at it. I picked up a potion, which is good. I don't know what it does, but I am going to get it identified. Oh, is this? Alright, you are going to get swirly slashed there, buddy. So you can see monsters appeared back here. Oh. Okay, there we go. Where I killed the boss. Now we're going to take this portal to the Overworld. And head back to the Academy. Okay, so in the Academy, let's talk about a few new things. You're going to come back to this guy, and he's going to do quite a few things for you. First of all, he's automatically going to identify all your stuff. Weapons that you identify don't help you for future weapons. You're just going to have to identify every weapon and armor and things like that that you find. But if you pick up potions again, you're going to recognize them from that point forward. Same with scrolls. So now I know what some of the stuff is. I do, in fact, have healing potions. A champion potion that's really nice to put before a battle. This thing is junk. This thing is good. It gets rid of poisons. I can get stamina back. I can stop bleeding. Okay. Some of the scrolls in this game are kind of worthless. Like, reveal location of all the monsters, like, whatever. Scroll of curse gear. Yeah, no thanks. Eat curse is good. You can get rid of curses. You can identify items with this. You can ignore projectiles. Pin to win is a very good scroll, even though it's a low-tier scroll. It's actually really strong. It lets you freeze a monster in place for 2 or more rounds, depending on how good your science is, which can be really helpful for running away, or if you're like a ranged class, for keeping it in one place while you bring it down. But let's go ahead and see some of the other stuff here. So we got some relics for the Academy. Now you have a choice. When you find a rare artifact, you can sell it, but this game, money is not that important. You can go to towns and you can buy things, and it is important to do that sometimes. But saving up money is not as important as building up your academy, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and put this in the museum. So now we have a museum. Now what the museum does is it lets you store up knowledge about the monsters that you fight. So eventually, you're actually going to like start to see like how many hit points monsters have, which obviously makes fighting a lot easier. Let's go back to this guy. Do I have any more relics? Yes, I have this thing, which will help with the alchemy lab. Proof of strength gives you more skill points to use. Stat points. I shouldn't call them skill points, because there is a stat called skills. These are stat points that can go into any of your 4 attributes. We got alchemy, which is good. So eventually what the alchemy lab will allow you to do is take a new hero to the alchemist at the beginning of the game and pre-identify a whole bunch of potions, so you know what they are right from the beginning. I'm out of relics. Do I have any books? Books go in the library. Right now we have a terrible library. You should definitely go talk to this guy. He's hilarious. And sometimes when you give things to the academy, and there's this war chest, you get a bunch of items. Now you can wait and you can let your next hero pick up the stuff in this war chest, because it does not replenish. But I'm just going to go ahead and grab them for my FIGHTERMANs. Just see how far we can go. And over here, let's take a look at this guy. So what you can do with him is you can smelt things down into ore. And the alternative is to sell them for money, but because I don't really care that much about money in this game, I am going to smelt my stuff. First, let me just see if I got anything good. Got a splinter grip chopper. That's definitely not what I need. Ooh, a sturdy field sarong. So that's a metal skirt. That seems good. We got a sweeping great axe. That's not. Oh, so the magical hammer I found deals extra poison damage and sometimes fills the enemy with poison. So that seems like a fine keeper. And that's not as good. That's not as good. Not as good. Not as good. Okay. And I got my menu punch. Note, by the way, this is the all menu. There are sub-menus like identified consumables, unidentified consumables. You got your one-handed, two-handed weapons range stuff, so you can find stuff relatively easily. Okay, when you talk to him, so okay, let's melt down some of this trash gear, and usually the option you're going to want is all the gear that's not equipped, so this will melt down all the weapons and armor that is not equipped. Pop! And we got 62 units of tin steel. Now what you can do is you can upgrade the starting weapons and armor for new recruits, so they start with better stuff. It costs 100 tin steel for any of these upgrades, so I can't do that yet, but that's something to look forward to. And over here is where you can look up information about monsters. Now, obviously, I just got this museum, so there's no information in it yet, and I'm not even sure you really need to ever go in there, but I did notice that after, killing monsters a whole bunch after we got that museum opened, it does allow you to start seeing monster hit points and things like that. Let's go over here So I gave 2 proofs of strength to the academy because I killed 2 champions, and I get 4 points to spend on improving my skills. Let's go ahead and do this. After you get to, I think, 16, it costs 2 points to improve a skill. Then after you get to 20, it costs 3, etc. My main concern is I need to get skills up. I don't care that much about science or Foom. Foom I just don't care about at all. Science is already high. I really just want to get this up to the point where it's at least costs, 2 to increase it, so that I can block attacks more easily. Now, from the standpoint of making videos, I'm in a bit of a catch-22, because if I try to play really well, then this guy's going to live for a long time. So it's going to take longer for us to see some other classes and stuff. But I am going to try to play my best, because I find that I die sometimes, so that's fine. Let's go over to this other dungeon. Now this dungeon is trivial. As you can see up here, trivial. So it's the lowest possible difficulty. This game has a nifty feature, which is that if you are going into a trivial dungeon, it doesn't actually let you. Either you ignore it, or you can blow it up. So it's kind of nifty. You don't need to actually go through the hassle of going through the dungeon. This actually, although very cool graphically, is a bit of a disadvantage for you as a hero, because it means you don't get the proof of strength from the champions that are inside the dungeon, of which there's guaranteed to be at least one. So it's cool. It also helps you from getting overpowered, so it's fine. I do kind of wonder about the balancing, though. Pretty much after you clear this first warren, you end up level 3, so that makes any surrounding dungeon trivial automatically. Now this place is also trivial, but it is not a dungeon, so it does not get auto-cleared. These are like weird little battles. You go from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. There's a lot of barricades, and there's a lot of monsters. Most of them are ranged, and they shoot at you, and it's really annoying. And then at the end, there's a champion you have to kill. These bombs explode after a couple of rounds, and do some fire damage to you and to your opponents. These guys actually are dealing decent damage to me, so I'm gonna have to be a little careful. Luckily, I do have healing potions. Okay, I am going to whirl in here because I would have taken too much damage. Okay, this is the champion. I do have some respect for her, so what we're gonna do here is use a potion. I'm going to first of all quaff a healing potion, so I start healing. And then I'm going to quaff a barkskin potion, so I take less damage. I'm also going to turn on my battle fervor to resist damage. And now that I'm all ready to go, swackety, slappity, schmackety do. As you can see, I'm really not doing very much damage to this lady. I can see here how much stuff is left. Barkskin is 2 turns. Regenerate health for 1 more turn. Fervor is another 7 turns. I'm actually going to drink a champion's potion. Hopefully make this a little bit better. I know some people are like, "Ah, God, you're using potions." No, but you really need to do that. I'm gonna actually restart my fervor to resist the damage. I got some stamina to spare, I'm noticing here, so we're gonna actually crowd control. I did not mean to do that. I fervored by accident. Let's crowd control. So if I had any kind of ranged ability, I could now do stuff to her. As it is, unless I have a scroll of bees. Oh, I do have a scroll of bees. Let's actually do this. So we're going to scroll of bees to do some extra damage to her. 19 damage, not the most. But scroll of bees is pretty much useless, so I don't care. Getting a little down there on the health. I do have fervor up and running. I can't see how much health she has. She's badly wounded. She's going to kill me before I kill her. One of those things in this game where you just want to like keep plugging away and hope for the best, but really you should just drink your potions. So yes, it's my last healing potion. I'm going to make sure I buy some more before going into the next dungeon. But I think it's important to drink the potions, because if you die, the potions just go away. So you might as well get the benefit from them while you can. Can I use any of my abilities? This is stamina 8. Totally going to do it. Get her away from me. And that'll kill her. Perfect. Love these animations, by the way, for when they die. Okay. I even leveled up. Leveling up weirdly gives you all your health back, but not your stamina or mana. Oh yeah, I love those women who die. They always call you a British cuss word like wanker, and then the guys say, bloody hell! Alright, so we killed that. I think what I want to do now is go to a town, and we can talk about towns. Okay, so towns I hope another thing that gets a little bit improved in this game, there are basically just a bunch of shops, and that's it. So not really a whole lot as far as towns go. And you cannot tell what the fuck a shop sells until you go in there. Like, this lady seems like she sells potions and scrolls, but who the fuck knows? She could, like, be selling halberds. I mean, it's really all kind of random. Heartburn potion, lesser stamina, no thanks. Scroll of Pintuin is good, but I think I have enough of those. That's fine. It's also not as helpful for the Fightermans. But more importantly, let's talk to the mayor over here. Every town has a maximum prosperity value. This one is just a 0 out of 1, which is kind of lame. The higher it is, the more purloined inventory that you can give to the town. Every purloined inventory increases the town's prosperity by 1. The higher the town's prosperity, the better the stuff that you can find in its shops. And the cheaper that stuff is. Every time one of your heroes dies, all towns have their prosperity lowered by 1. So while there is a semi-permanent element of advancement for the towns, it's not entirely permanent. This guy sells staves, which I do not need. But I mean, this shop, it's got like a friggin' shield there. I mean, it's just really bizarre. I hope that they make it a little bit more obvious what every shop sells at some point, and maybe just make these towns a bit more well-rounded. Okay, this guy's got some two-handed weapons. It's not exactly what I want, truthfully. I mainly want some to restock my healing potions, but this guy actually does have some pretty good weapons. So we got a +7 versus what I'm currently using, +9 versus what I'm using. I think that's worth giving up. 1d4 poison damage. This is going to cost me 4 gold, which is most of the money I have. I don't really care. I'll buy it. Even if I find something better in the next dungeon, I really don't care. Because I think it's better to spend your money than to keep it. Eventually you're going to have, like, you know, hundreds of gold, and it's just not going to matter. Okay, what I'm going to do here is... I should have gone back to the academy to get my stuff identified. I'm going to use Bolster Weapon. This gives a minor positive enchantment to... Wait a minute. That's not what I want to bolster. Oh, no! It fizzles! I didn't pick a thing. Oh, you can't cancel the scrolls. I wanted to bolster the Fanged Paranshu. Well, hopefully we'll find another one of those scrolls later. Here, let's use a scroll of Bolster Armor to bolster the armor successfully. Although, do I want to do this instead? Oh yeah, this is actually better. So let me just bolster it some more. Now it becomes a super sturdy field sarong. Alright, let me just go ahead and put that on. Where is it? Super sturdy. Okay. Sometimes Oh, it's the skirt. I'm already wearing it. Oh yeah. Well, I could have probably just put it on the cuirass. Well, whatever. So, okay, that guy had some stuff, and I fizzled a potion of, or a scroll of Bolster Weapon. Let's see what this guy sells. I'm looking for healing potions. I don't think these are... Oh, that is a healing potion. 15 silver? Yes, please. Barkskin's okay. The champion potions are good. They kind of give you a bunch of stuff, like health, damage, and whatnot. Alright, so I do actually have some purloined inventory. I got 5 of these things, but I don't want to use it on a town that's this close to the academy, because the farther they are from the academy, the higher their maximum prosperity is, and the more that you get from putting your purloined inventory there. Okay, I think I'm going to actually end it for this video right here. We did a dungeon and battle and learned some mechanics of the game. Let's now go talk to the academy man and basically do some wrapping up. Do I have any relics? I do. I have a proof of strength. Do I have any books? I don't. Let's identify all this shit and see if there's anything good. One thing that's kind of nice, anything that's grayed out, you can't use. So you only have to look at stuff that is actually like a nice bold color. This is a shield. It's a skirt. Oh, these are pretty good boots. They give a bunch of random stuff. Got a ring, which increases my damage. That's good. Let's put this baby on. Blandles. Oh, God. Okay, I got a bunch of stuff. Pull in inventory to use later. We're going to take a trip to our friend, Mr. Smelter. Yep. I got some beryllium, too. Nice. And, okay, we can actually upgrade our starting weapons and armor. Let's go ahead and upgrade weapons, because everybody's got weapons, but not everybody has armor. I did submit a proof of strength here, so I should have some more points to spend. Yep. 2 points. Let's go ahead and get skills up here. So now my skills are not terrible. And you might say, well, Boris, you know, you started off with 9. You could have just re-rolled skills so you had one that was like 15 to start with. And the thing is, you're going to find it just... I have a mastery point. Oh, wow. That's kind of nifty. I've never done that before. You're going to find that it really just doesn't matter. Just don't even worry about it. You're going to be totally fine for skills because of how the game works things out. Okay, so now it's getting to the point where this guy has survived for kind of a while. He's level 4. The highest level I have gotten is level 7. The leveling really slows down. It's not just because I suck. So I think we are going to maybe expand a little bit here. I am going to grab a skill from the Bannerman's tree. We're going to take the Herald Militant and put it in our bar. I like this because a lot of the fighter stuff is just like attack, and this gives a little bit of survivability. So what the banner does is you plop it down, and it gives you some healing, and it makes your monsters miss more. So it's a good thing to have. This gives me a mana pool now, because this thing actually costs mana, costs 5, but it doesn't really matter that much. The banner lasts for a long time, and my mana pool, while small, is more than enough to use this banner with, which is pretty much all I'm going to be doing with my mana. So that's fine. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching. We're going to pick it up in the next video. We're going to head on out of town and go find some more dungeons to explore, where I will play my best, but I'm also kind of hoping this guy dies so that I can show you some other classes. Alright, everybody, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care.